Fit. I'm out here making another video, and nothing in particular about the. Well, maybe I might have something to talk about, but I'm oh jeez, gotta get the focus here again. Get the camera fixed up here. All right, I think we got it. Anyways, I might have a little something to talk about, but I'm in Illinois right now. This is well, let's call it my first video 2021, and I'm headed to Chicago. I gotta go. I'm dropping a load off in Chicago. I'm currently about 2 hours away. Once I get there and drop, I think I'm going to consider shutting down. That way I don't end up shifting my time too much to where I'm spending a lot of time driving the day. So I'm doing this video now. It's because it's daytime. I drove a few hours early or through the night. Actually, I drove a few hours during the night to drop off an empty that I had. I came from Kentucky, but I didn't have a load to get out of Kentucky, so they had me deadhead up to St. Louis to get a load. Well, when I got to St. Louis, they didn't have a load ready for me by the time I got there, which kind of the real word I want to use is that it kind of pissed me off, because I didn't want to have to. Well, there's quite a few things about that I don't like, and the one thing is that when I get to working and there's some kind of break, and I'm not wanting a break, or I'm not ready for a break, but all of a sudden this break comes at a time when I'm not ready for it. It irritates me big time, because I'm on a roll here, and I got all this energy to do what I got to do what I got to do, or do what I want to do. But then when I get stonewalled like that, it gives me an opportunity to relax. It gives me an opportunity to settle down and things like that. So what ends up happening is that if I'm not preparing myself for a break, or if I'm not preparing myself for any kind of delays or whatever, that messes me up, because I'm in the mode to work, and I work and work and work, and when I get stopped at an unexpected point, it's just something in me that just irritates the hell out of me when that happens. But then on the other hand too, is that I have this, I guess it's because of the mindset. It's like, look, I'm working, and I'm going to just keep hitting it. But then that moment where there's no more energy, or not for me, but I mean when there's a pause in the routine, there's an opportunity for me to settle down. It's an opportunity for my body to become tired. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not ready to be tired. I'm not ready for a break right now. It's like, for me, it's like, look, time is money, right? But there's a certain time that I want to do things, and there's a certain time that I want to get things done. And when a monkey wrench gets thrown into the process, that's where I have an issue. And maybe that's something that I have to work out. I don't know. But I noticed that. And so I'm driving right now because after stopping off in St. Louis and thinking I'm going to get another load right then and there, I mean, seeing as how the yard was full of trailers that are just waiting for somebody to pick up and go, it was hard for me to understand why I'm sitting here when there's work to be done. So, for me having to wait, 2 or 3 hours, it has extended my work day, that much longer. Or I have the potential to work. I have the potential to extend my work day, so much longer. And I don't want to do that because I am in a groove to where the best times for me to drive, and this right here is not all that bad, really. And that's just because I'm not in or around a major city. There were some pockets of, there were some areas earlier where I actually had a bunch of cars and a bunch of traffic and stuff, and it just seemed to me that this traffic caught up with me and then just decided to sit there around me. Now, I've been in situations where that has actually happened, where all this traffic catches up to me, and then for some reason, instead of it passing me by, it wants to stop, or it wants to slow down and just cluster around me. And I've said this in many videos before, that I don't like to be in clusters. I don't like to be in groups, in groups of, well, talking in the non-driving sense, I don't like to be in a group where of people that I don't know, or don't really have a connection with, and things like that. But when it comes to driving in traffic, is that I don't want to be driving in traffic. I don't want to be driving in a cluster full of cars. I like to have my space, and that's something that does bug the hell out of me too, is because it's like I'm cruising, like right now I'm cruising. Speed limit is 70 miles an hour here, and I'm driving, a few miles below that, and I'm cruising, I'm comfortable and everything like that. But this thing rises up in me when I get cars, or even trucks for that matter, traffic that creeps up on me, and instead of passing on by, they just hang out in my area. And the problem that I have with that, especially when it comes to weather like this, where it's cold, the visibility is not all that great. The road may be slick and slippery in certain places. I am more cautious in this type of weather, because I don't want to get into an accident. I don't want to run into nobody. And so with that caution, it causes me to raise up the irritation level, or become irritated quicker, because you're in my area. It's, instead of pushing on past and finding your own little section of freeway to hang out in when there's a lot of room, I don't get that. I don't understand that, because the way that I see it is that you're a potential danger to me. more than I'm a potential danger to you, you are a potential danger to me. And the reason why I say that is because as a driver, I am a professional when it comes to being a driver, more than what you are. And I say that I'm a professional, one, because I can drive pretty well. And so a lot of you people who drive these non-commercial cars are probably saying the same thing. Oh yeah, well, you know, hey, I know how to drive too. You know, so that must make me a professional. No, that doesn't make you a professional. It doesn't make you professional because you are not your way of life is not, or your driving is not the way that you're getting paid. It's not your way of life. You're driving in your little personal car. You are not under the strict guidelines that I'm under. You know, there's a lot of different things that I gotta pay attention to that you just are oblivious to. There's a lot of different things that a commercial driver has to keep on his mind, that he's got to watch out for. That's what makes us true professional drivers. And so I take that very seriously. So that's why, you know, the irritation level rises up in me rather quickly. Because the way that I see it is you know, you are a threat to me. You are a danger to me. And that's why I say that you are more of a danger to me than I am a danger to you. Because I see you as a threat to my livelihood. I see you as a threat to the way that I make my money. And that's why I feel the way that I feel. And that's why that's the main reason why I don't like people hanging around me, you know, while I'm driving here. But, yeah. I don't know where that little rant came from, but I just hopped out of that groove there. Anyways, I'm on the way to Chicago, dropping off this load, and I don't know where I'm gonna go from there. I'm probably gonna be heading down south again. Let's see, it is so anyways, what I was thinking about talking about on this video, it's more of a, well, I would say it's a trucking tip, but I guess it's just a driving tip in general. And the thing that I want to talk about is curves. Not the curves on your body. I'm talking about the curves that, you know, on the road. How to safely take a curve. You know, there are people that have accidents in a curve, or on the road going through a curve, because either they weren't paying attention that the road had changed directions on them, or because they may have taken the curve too fast, or there was a condition on the road that caused them to lose control of their vehicle while in the curve. And so I wanted to talk I wanted to share a little bit of what I know about curves, or how to go through, how to get through a curve in a safe manner, or in a more aware manner, And that's the thing, is that when you go into these curves, you want to be aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it. Most of the time, when you're going into a curve, such as like what you see here, this here is just a slight curve, but you go through some places that have some tight curves and some tight turns, and most of you, most of the time, are going through these curves without thinking about what you're doing or what you should be doing when you go into these curves. And I've done it before, and I occasionally do this. I occasionally do it, myself. Not really thinking about how I'm going through these curves, but it's real basic, but pretty much when you're going through these curves, there are three parts in navigating your way through a curve. Come on, car. There are three parts in navigating through a curve. And these three parts are going into the curve, while you're in the curve, and then coming out of the curve. So these are the three components. So to start with, going into the curve, when you know that there's a curve coming up, when you know that the road is changing directions on you, there are things that you have to do. One is that if you see the road turning on you, you have to know that you most likely will have to slow down, depending on what you see, depending on how tight that turn is that you're looking at. You may have to slow down. A good rule of thumb is that when you come into, before you go into a curve or a turn, you automatically should start thinking that turn could be a lot sharper than what you initially see. There are some roads that may seem like, oh dang, we got an accident here. Car got smashed by a truck. See, this is the thing here. Look at that. This is what I was just talking about earlier. Now, based on what I just saw there, and this is something else that I'm talking about too. You see them cars up there in front of me? They passed me. Now they're actually okay, all right. They're a little bit ways away out there, but still, they passed me, and it looks like they just kind of like stopped or slowed down. So they aren't keeping it moving, but I see them, and they're those are potential hazards for me. I don't want to end up like that truck driver with that car. But this is what I'm talking about. We got to watch out for these cars, because a lot of times, now I might be a little biased because I don't know exactly what happened, but based on statistics that I've heard, many of the accidents that truck drivers get into, they're getting into accidents with these little small cars. And the reason why they're getting into accidents with these small cars, in many of the cases, is because little small cars, these little non-commercial, regular car drivers, which are us truck drivers call four-wheelers. You guys, in many of the cases, are causing these accidents. You're trying to zip around us. You know, you're trying to squeeze in around us. You're trying to cut us off because you want to try and prove something to us. You want to show us how upset and angry that you are because we're in quote unquote your way. And so whether you're trying to prove a point or you're just in a hurry, you're rushing and stuff like that, you make some dumb moves. And us truck drivers are getting tangled up with these little cars because you're making all these sudden moves, and because we are larger, we can't react as quickly as you can. And that's just the physics of things. The larger you are, the larger the object is, the slower. It's an optical illusion, pretty much, in many cases. The larger that you are, the slower you move. The more effort that needs to be asserted in order to do something. The longer it takes for a thing to react. You know, if for a little car, if you ever seen nature shows and you see a little jackrabbit getting chased by a wolf, you know what I'm talking about. That little jackrabbit is hitting them turns, you know, busting them turns left and right and left, and you know, doing circles around this wolf. That little rabbit is small. That little rabbit has the advantage of being able to make tight turns, because for one, that rabbit doesn't have they're small. They don't have a lot of weight, a lot of mass to them, and so it's easier for them to make tight turns. Whereas the wolf is a lot larger, has a lot more mass to it. So when he sees that rabbit take off to the right, he can't just dart off to the right just like that rabbit does, because he's more massive. And so it's going to take him a little bit longer to try and negotiate that turn to keep up with that rabbit. He's going to take a wider arc because why? He's a larger animal. He has more mass, and he just cannot move like that. If he did, he would slip out from under his feet. He'd be sliding everywhere, falling, and he'd totally lose the rabbit. It's the same concept with your little car and my big truck. Your little car can do these little tight turns and twists and stops and stuff like that. Why? Because you're smaller. You don't have enough. You don't have a lot of mass. Versus my truck, which is a lot larger than yours, is a lot bigger than yours. Well, it's large and big at the same thing. It's a lot larger than yours, and it's more massive than yours. So, therefore, it takes a lot longer for me to stop. It takes a lot longer for me to react. You know, and if I react too quickly, if I try and stop too soon, like you, or if I try to take a turn as fast as you do, I run the chance of jackknifing, and I run the chance of flipping over because my mass is so much larger than yours, and it's in different places. So I can't always move like you. So this is why I see you as a danger, as a hazard to me. Because if you get spooked by something and you dodge into my lane, or you are upset and you want to prove a point to me, or whatever, you're in a rush, so you're trying to squeeze on by me. You making all these sudden movements puts me in a position to where I might run you over, or I might do something to where I lose control of my vehicle, or I might hit or run over somebody else because of what you did. And the way that what I saw from that truck and that car, that looks to exactly what had happened. It looks to me like that car did something and it messed up the front left quarter panel of that truck, which means that car was sitting up there in front of that truck. And it seems to me that car did something and didn't calculate the distance, and he got clipped by that car. Or excuse me, he got clipped by that truck. So be careful out there. We we are massive vehicles, and I know that you don't plan your time right, or you don't put your patience or your righteousness in check, and you want to try and put your life in danger by trying to brake check me or whatever, just so that you can quote unquote get me back because I was an obstacle in your way, instead of you just chugging right on past me. You got a way to get ahead of me, instead of just chugging right along like ain't nobody's business. You want to come and endanger yourself into getting killed, or you try to kill me, which is the way that I look at it. But anyways, that's a whole nother rant. Anyway, so getting back to the curve. Now, I was talking about how when you are approaching the curve, there are things that you need to check out, and that is, how sharp is that turn? How sharp is that curve? And then you need to start adjusting. Now, see, in this big truck, you gotta look at, especially at highway speeds, you gotta look at least a half a mile ahead of you and start putting into a plan on how to react. Because you can travel a half a mile pretty quickly. You really don't have that much time to figure out what you're going to do in a half an hour. If you don't sit there and start running through scenarios. So that's the first thing. You figure out what you're going to do when you get to this turn. When you get to this turn, it's always in your best interest to be as cautious as possible. With that caution, that means that you're going to have to slow down. You always slow down when you're going into a curve that is not going to allow you to, or that's going to be dangerous to take at a high rate of speed. You're going to have to slow down. Now, the second part of this curve is while you're in the curve. While you're in the curve, you've already slowed down. You've already slowed down enough to where you are now in the curve and you're taking that curve. You now need to maintain that speed. Either maintain it or continue slowing down. But let's just say let's just say you want to maintain the speed. You maintain a safe speed to where you can navigate through that curve and come on out of the other side. While you're in that curve, you want to look ahead of you, because like I mentioned before, is that you go through some of these curves and it's not a sharp turn at first, but then as you get into this turn, sometimes these roads will really, some of these roads will actually get sharper on you as you're in the turn. So you want to look ahead and make sure that road is not making a sharper turn than what you're already in. Now, if it's staying consistent, or if it's opening up, straightening out, then you can adjust to normal driving speeds after you come out of that turn. But if it starts to tighten up on you, you need to be ready for that. You need to be ready. You need to be ready to slow down even more so that you can be able to navigate that portion of the curve. So that's the most important thing. Now, the last part, or the third part of this curve, or this turn, is coming out of the curve. This is the part where the curve is straightening out. You're coming out of it. This is where you can start to accelerate and go back to normal driving, your normal driving routine. As the curve is starting to straighten out, as the road is starting to straighten out, you can begin to start, you can begin to start picking up your speed. All the while you're looking ahead of you to see what that road is going to do, to see what obstacles lay up ahead of you, in front of you. You want to make sure that you want to keep in your mind that as you're going, you don't want that, you want to make sure that there's no obstacles in your way, because you want to keep in your mind that if there is something that's in your way, you want to be able to react quickly, which means that, if you're not, what is this? I just passed this person and now they want to get up in front of me again. So you want to keep that in the back of your head, that as you come out of this curve, if something was to jump out in front of you or whatever, you're going to be able to have the reaction time and the space to to get around it. So that's the three parts of the curve. You have going into the curve, where you want to, before you get into the curve, there you want to make sure that you want to prepare yourself for coming into that curve, which means that you're going to have to slow down going into that curve. The other part is you're in the curve. You've already slowed down. You're already going through a safe pace, and you're navigating through that curve. But you want to make sure that there's nothing. You want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to block your pathway, and you want to ensure that the curve doesn't get tighter on you. And then you got the third part, which is coming out of the curve and starting to straighten out. That's where you can start accelerating again and getting back to your normal driving routine. So maybe that's a tip that's helpful for you. I don't know. But if you liked it, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. For those of you that have subscribed to my channel, I do appreciate it. I think I'm up to 29 subscribers now, which when I go back into my email, because I found out where I can see or where I'm notified as to who has joined my channel. I want to try to, give a shout out to those people who have joined my channel to be subscribers. And I appreciate that you decided to subscribe to my channel. And for those of you who haven't subscribed to my channel as of yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. By now, you've heard it many times that people are asking and begging you to subscribe to their channel. You know how to subscribe to somebody's channel. I don't have to tell you. But I want to bring some good content to you. Bring some good conversations to you and stuff like that. So hit that subscribe button so that you will get my latest videos. I'm just a truck driver out here. I'm just a normal guy out here just truck driving, and I want to just share my experiences with you, share my thoughts and things that are on my heart with you, and that's all that I'm doing out here. And if you want to hang out with me, through my videos and stuff, then hit up my channel, subscribe to it, and then we can go into this together. So I don't talk about any one specific thing on my channel. I'm a variety channel, so anything that, and when I say variety channel, I'm just saying that there's a variety of things that I may think about or may want to talk about, and that's what I put on my channel, is that I have a variety of things to think about and talk about. So check back every once in a while. I may have something new to talk about. So I'll talk to y'all later.